that? Huh, there's something on the screen. Whatever. Hey, how are you? Happy New Year! Or it will be, I hope. Today, as I'm recording this, it's actually New Year's Eve. So hi! I am Maja, and you can find me as sjomajlin on Instagram and Ravelry. I am coming to you from our craft in the woods, where I'm sat on the floor with the ugliest blanket ever. Anyway, in front of the fire, with just candle lights. So the lighting is so and so, but it'll have to do. There is some electricity. You can have like two things going at the same time, or the fuses will pop. So I have electric lights, but it's so uncozy. So I'm just looking to see what time it is. It is 5:15 in the afternoon, December 31st. And so I usually say Jönköping, Sweden. Today it's not Jönköping, but it's just outside Mullsjö, Sweden. Hi, how are you? I hope, I believe today, as I'm recording this, it's the last day of Hanukkah. And Christmas was obviously last week, so I'm hoping, or whatever holiday you're celebrating, I hope everyone had a lovely holiday, and well, Christmas goes until next weekend as well. Epiphany in English, right? In Swedish it is, well, the 13th day is pretty much what it's called. But I think it's Epiphany in English. I did not record last week, as you might have noticed, I guess. I was just about to get ready to record, and when I was like, nah. So I wasn't gonna force myself. I just realized I put one of my projects way over there. I'll get it. I wasn't gonna force myself, you know? So it is what it is. So since last, we had the big concert with the choir, together with the other choir and the a cappella, the real group. That's what they're called. It sounds sort of weird to talk about them in English. Anyway, it went very well. It was a horrible day though. It was Wednesday, just before Christmas, so what was that, maybe the 21st? I had a full day at the office first, like really wrestling with the computer system or the data system. And then I sort of ran from there, or well, a very brisk walk. So I arrived at the concert venue all sweaty and all stressed out, and I was kind of thinking that we would have, you know, plenty of time to settle in and so on, but it wasn't. It was like really stressful up until the start of the concert. And at that point I didn't knit a stitch that entire day, which in itself says something about me. But we opened the concert with 4 songs, just the choirs, I should say, and that worked out. That worked really good. And then we were allowed, or herded, like out. So we exit the stage exit, and we sort of walked around all the way back and up to the second balcony, all the way in the back of the concert hall, and as we got there, in the next round of applause, we were allowed to enter and to see the rest of the first part of the show, which was really cool. And then after the break, we were supposed to get ready backstage. So the real group were doing 2 numbers or 2 songs, and then we were going to enter the stage again to perform 2 other songs with them. So my choir friends were the break, they were all like, oh, I need some water, I need to find this, I need to find that, whatever. And I was like, I'm going up to the dressing room to get my knitting. And I did, and so I stood like backstage, because we didn't really know how long the break would be and whatever. So I stood backstage knitting away. And then when the second half started, we all lined up on our lines, so that we would be completely ready to just like march on stage, because we were like 60 people that were gonna get up on stage quickly and efficiently. And I stood there knitting out of my little knitting, what's the word, project bag under my arm, and I stood there knitting. And so my choir colleagues were all like, what are you doing? Like, I'm knitting. Well, what are you gonna, and I was like, yeah, I'm just gonna, you know. They were like, well, you don't need that. And I was like, well, no. But what are you gonna, I'm not gonna bring it on stage, I promise. But what you're, I've got it. They were so nervous. Anyway, so when the doors opened, I just put the knitting into the bag and just put it against the wall. It was backstage, no one else was gonna go there. Whatever. And then, anyway, we went on stage and we performed the two pieces we were doing together, and then we were herded back onto the balcony again to see the rest of the concert. If you follow me on Instagram, you might have seen that I posted some videos from there. Excuse me. And it was really, really good and really, really cool. So that was the big finish of my, well, of the year, almost. I had worked up until that point. Excuse me, I am drinking carbonated beverages today. And that does things to me. Anyway, that was when I took my sort of Christmas break, winter break even, and I had been like really stressed up until that point, and I almost always get like a post concert or post performance dip or crash or funk, and I anticipated that because that happens, and I did post that to Instagram as well on that Thursday, and I thought it would pass much quicker than it did. Excuse me. I just grilled some vegetarian sausage on the fire, and there obviously was a few pieces of ash or soot. That you don't need to know that. So yeah, it took longer to pick myself up after that post-performance funk, partly because, or also due to the fact that I was sort of really making the big finale of this year's work and everything. Anyway, so we had a very calm and peaceful Christmas, which is always good. And then my sister-in-law, her birthday is Christmas Day. So we celebrate Christmas Eve in Sweden. And her birthday is Christmas Day, so we went to sort of a Christmas family celebration. So my mom and dad and her mom and dad and siblings and her niece and nephew. Is that right? Yes, it is. So my nephew's cousins. Anyway, which is always nice and like calm and pleasant and everything, but it is a social event. And then I also met up with my lovely friends who were visiting from, they live in Örebro. What is that, like 3 hours drive away maybe? So we don't see each other all too often. His parents live sort of here, so they were home for Christmas. So we met up to see the latest Star Wars movie together on Christmas Day, and I'm not gonna say anything about it, no spoilers, but as I mentioned last year when we did the same thing but with the last movie, I hadn't seen the other Star Wars movies, so I didn't have anything to go on. And for this time around I'd only seen the last Christmas Star Wars movie. But I have since borrowed episode 4, 5 and 6 from my brother, and I've watched 4 and 5. And I am going to watch the 6th one as well. And I'm just gonna say, without spoiling anything of the movie, the more watching episode 4 and 5 obviously broadened my Star Wars knowledge, and that gives so much more depth to the new movie as well. And I've retroactively, is that a word? Enjoyed this last movie more since anyway, so that was also a very good time. But again, it's a social event, and that with me not being in the best shape, sort of, to start with, it took its toll. So it's been kind of rough. And, well, here I am in a croft in the middle of the woods, alone, on New Year's Eve. And I love it. I am really not a big fan of New Year's Eve. And I've realized over the last years that although I think fireworks are beautiful, the bangs really sort of enters my soul and chews chunks out of it. Maybe just slightly over dramatic there, but it sort of does. I really don't like that. So I was thinking, so I'm guessing it's the same everywhere. At sort of 12, or at the strike of the new year, people are shooting off fireworks like crazy. Although people will start earlier, and they will have started the day before, and it bothers me so much. So I just had the idea in my head that maybe I should do what a lot of dog owners do, i.e. they flee to the woods to be sort of far away from civilization, to minimize the impact. So I did. I went out to the craft yesterday at sort of lunchtime, and I spent the afternoon and night here, and today I'm spending all the day here, and I'm spending the night again, and I'm going home tomorrow at some point. So I've just been here all alone, reading, listening to some audio podcasts, knitting, tending the fire, eating candy, just having such a good time. I don't want to sneeze, so I won't. So I'm having a really good time. And now I'm going to show you some knitting stuff. And I have so much soot under my fingernails. We don't have any running water out here. I am keeping clean, like clean enough, with wet wipes or baby wipes, but not under my nails, obviously. So please don't watch that. So first I want to show you some of the things I got for Christmas. And hopefully the lighting is good enough. There are actually 2 candles behind the camera. So this is wool yarn from Ölands Ullcentrum again, that my parents had bought me. Do you remember I had a grey and blue, turquoisey blue yarn that I knitted into a sweater? I think that this is going to behave the same way as that did, but I do believe that the grey, it looks almost a bit brown on screen. No, there it looks pretty good. It is shades of grey and white. I don't think that, excuse me, I don't think that this is dyed. The blue, turquoise blue was obviously dyed. I think this is natural. And I think it's beautiful. So 4 skeins of that. It actually says on the label, I think, it doesn't. On one of the other yarns I had, it said on the label. On this, it's pre-printed. No, not on that one. They've changed their labels. So on these three, it's pre-printed that it is 100 grams. On this one, it is handwritten that it's 93 grams. So I'm guessing it is like close enough to being 100 grams. Because I remember the last, or the turquoisey grey yarn that I had. I think I had 4 or 5 skeins of that as well. And they range from like sort of 93 and 105 or something. So I'm guessing it sort of evens out. So yeah, it smells really, really sheepy. This is such beautiful yarn. It is minimally tampered with, if that makes any sense. So there is the logo for Ullcentrum Öland. I did get what I'm about to show you next. I just want to make sure that this doesn't go out. Ah! I don't have, if you have like a glove, like a regular, the thick version of gardening gloves, you can just reach in and flip the logs, but I don't have that. My mom had knitted me a purse, or like a toiletry bag, and it is so cute. So I wanted to show you. It is color work. It is navy, yeah, you can see. It's navy and white. It looked really black at first, but then it showed up. Let me just take these out that I'm going to show you next. She has lined it with dotted fabric. So there is like the main compartment, and then she made pockets along the lines. So you can't see the strands or anything, but it is stranded colorwork and it's beautiful. It's such a beautiful job. And she installed a zipper by hand, and it is just gorgeous. So, and she said, you're probably not, or I don't remember exactly what she said, but the idea was I might not use it as a toiletry bag, but I could use it as like a project bag or a makeup bag, or you know, sometimes if you have like a large purse, you just need something smaller to like put your lipstick or lip, what's it called? Balm, and keys and wallet or whatever in, so that you can find it, and this will be perfect for that. So it is beautiful. I also got two sets of earrings, one of which, yeah, is crafting related. So, and they don't actually ring or like, it's just when they are held next to each other. So these are, oh, they're called thimbles, aren't they? I just realized I haven't double checked that. I think they're called thimbles. Like you put them on your finger to sew or embroider by hand. And again, don't look at my nails. And they're made into earrings, and they are gorgeous. And I also got, and these are not crafting related at all, but I think you'll realize why they are so amazing. Ah! And they are hard to hold on to. Ah! There are two of them, and they are the same, so let me just show you one. Can you see? Hogwarts earrings. So it is the 4 houses, the symbols of the 4 houses, and it says the Hogwarts H in the middle. And they're so gorgeous! Thank you, Martin. So on to knitting. I did finish the sweater for my nephew that I had shown you last week. I have a picture up on Instagram. I had finished did I just say last week? I meant last episode. I had finished one sweater for the the younger nephew in like black and stripes of green, sort of. And I had started an identical but not sweater, slightly larger for the older nephew, in sort of black with stripes of orange. And I thought that I would have to use black yarn on the sleeves of that one to have enough yarn, and I did. So one of the sleeves has the striped yarn sort of below the elbow, two below the elbow, and then black for the rest of the sleeve and the cuff, and the other one has the same amount of black yarn for the top of the sleeve and then the striped yarn down. And they got theirs for Christmas, so I don't have it to show, but they were both really happy with their knitted sweaters. Yay! And I gifted so many knitted things this year for Christmas. Sorry, I gave so many knitted things away as gifts this year for Christmas. And they were very much appreciated. Okay, so let me just reach over to the table right there to bring you a work in progress. And I'm not gonna edit this out. And I need to get up from the floor first before I can even start to walk over. Ugh. Yeah, that's how that works. Okay, so I've also been working on the Still Light tunic since forever and ever. So both sleeves are done. Both, where are they? Both pockets are done, and it doesn't really show up in this light. I'm working on the length of the tunic. I just started the fourth to last. Does that make sense? I just started a skein, and including that I have 4 skeins left. I don't think I'm gonna use all of them, but I want to knit this tunic pretty long. So I'm working on that, and it's really boring. But I really want it finished, so I'm working on it. When was it? Sometime this summer. Maddie, sent me a package that I showed you. That was gorgeous. Thank you again. And included was this kit for a pair of mittens. I didn't bring the box with me, but I've started and finished the first mitten. This is stranded colorwork, and I'm really pleased with my job on it, but I know that colorworks, a good soaking to colorwork really works miracles. You can just make out that there is a yellow up here. It's not the best lighting for it, so the pattern goes on up there, and the same here. It is sort of leaves or trees or something foresty, and the thumb gusset, and the thumb. So I finished the first mitten completely, and I'm working on the second. I have a few rounds left before I'm putting the thumb stitches on hold. What I really enjoy with this, that I haven't done before when I've knitted mittens, I'm just changing the subject right now. I put the my skeins into this beautiful ceramic bowl that is kept here in the craft, and I think it looks so gorgeous. It makes me so happy. What I do enjoy, as I said, is, well, you can see it on this one. You knit the cuff, and then you do a purl row for the fold, and then you start knitting the mitten, and it says the instructions tells you to, at a certain point, either pick up the stitches of the cast on and knit them together with the stitches for the folded cuff. And I've done that before, and that works beautifully. But I've just done it in like plain stocking stitch, and with the collar work I just couldn't handle it. So what I did was, when I was done, I just sewed it in, and I'm gonna do that on the second one as well. And I really like how that makes the mitten look, because it gives, and as you saw, there are a few rounds of wow, ribbing. So it pulls in just a little bit, as you can see here, sort of in the color change. It pulls in just a little bit, but it still makes the body of the mitten look really, what do you say? Solid? Do you know what I mean? It looks like, because sometimes when you have like a real cuff on a mitten, it sort of looks like, oh, there's the cuff and there's the mitten. But this looks like it's just one part. Does that make any sense? And the other way around isn't necessarily a bad thing. It can work an effect on the visual as well. But I really like this. But it is still, so it's thicker here, obviously. When you work stranded, you have sort of 1.5 layers. It's not completely doubled, since there are just strands and not stitches, but it is much thicker. So here for the cuff part, it is 2.5 layers. So it is sort of tighter on your wrist, and it fits really well. So I really do like that construction. And I'm super happy with this project, so thank you. Thank you, Maggie. Maddie. Sorry, you know who you are. Thank you very much. And I did post a little picture to Instagram. So for the top stitches here, there are just 5 on each side, so 10 stitches. I tried the knitted, not garter stitch, Kitchener stitch. I tried the knitted Kitchener stitch, and I've done the sewn Kitchener stitch a million times before, but the knitted Kitchener stitch just made so much more sense in my brain. I just loved it. I did a YouTube search, and I found a really educational, clear instructions video that I followed, and again, as I said, it made so much sense, so I'll probably do that from now on. And it looks, I mean, what you do is really just a Kitchener stitch, and it is just a little bit crooked. Again, don't look at my nails. It is just a little bit crooked with how I did the decreases, because they are sort of like a braid. Oh, it doesn't show up in this light, or lack of light rather. They are sort of like a braid, so one of the decreases leans a little bit to to one side, and the other line of decreases leans a little bit to the other side, so it looks a little bit crooked, but that is not because of the Kitchener. So that is definitely something that I will keep on doing, I think. The knitted Kitchener. Yes, those are my works in progress. And my time is just about to run out. I've also worked quite a lot on the garter whatever shawl. Yeah, that's right, we had another social thing. Anyway, whatever. No, whatever. Yes. I didn't bring it out here, and it is really not a lot to show. But that's what I've been working on. And also been reading a whole lot. I've been really tearing through this book. I mentioned it before. It is originally written in French. And I really don't know French. I'm reading it in Swedish. So I said I wasn't even gonna try to give you the original title, but this is such a good book. Excuse me. It is such a good book that I really want to recommend it to you. Anyway, I want to emphasize the recommendation from before. And the alarm is just about to go off, so let me stop that so that I can tell you. I'm not going to give away the plot very much. I'm not going to give away anything that isn't like in the first chapter. So there is a cop and there is a murder. And well, throughout the book there are going to be more murders. You don't get that in the first chapter though. So the name of the author is Jean-Christophe Grangy. I have absolutely no idea, but I hope you can see that. And the title is something that in Swedish I djävulens spår, which in Swedish can be sort of, since it is like forensic work in it, and also he is sort of tracking down the culprit, so it could be sort of both in the tracks of the devil or traces of the devil. So I am absolutely not going to try, not even going to try to pronounce it in French, but it's spelled like Le Serment des Limbes in French, and I'm sure it is translated into English as well. Again, do not look at my nails. So there is the spelling. It is such a not terrible, terrifying. It is such a terrifying read. And I'm loving it. So I set up to like 1:30 last night, reading about gruesome murders, talking about the devil in the woods all by myself, with the wind really howling. So I closed them. What are they called? I really don't know. Like these doors that are too warm to touch. I closed them, and the wind in the chimney, or the wind outside, changed the pressure in the chimney so that they rattled. And I was like, no. Not gonna have them closed. It was terrifying. And also, did I mention there is no running water, so we don't have a toilet in the house. We have like a hut in the woods, like 100 meters, or no, 50 meters away. But if you're just going to water the lawn, you don't have to go all the way up there. You can just sort of go around the corner. But still, you need to go outside in the dark after reading. Yeah, whatever. So that's what I'm gonna do tonight. We are getting close to the new year. And just like everyone else, I think, I feel so many people, I'm just putting the earrings back in here so I won't lose them. So many people have had an awful year this year, and I'm one of them. So I'm really happy to see the new year roll on, roll in, and I hope things will get better. Anyway, I'll let you go now. I am, well, I'll say this, I don't have any plans on having, other than normal recording scheduling going forward, but as with what happened last week, if I'm I mean, sometimes life gets in the way, and if they do, I won't. You know what I mean? I'm looking to record again on probably Friday. So, please do take care. Be kind to yourselves and to one another. I won't post this until I get home tomorrow, so you won't have seen this before, but have a safe New Year celebration. I hope you do. And let's make 2017 a great year. Okay? Bye!